Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ant Portugal here, and today we're here to talk about an ant species that is very beginner friendly, and that I hope you will consider getting yourself, especially if you're from Europe. This species is Formica Fusca, and now I know there if you research, you'll find that there are many different and interestingly behaving Formica species, but I really advise you to start with the Formica Fusca. Formica Fusca is, as I've said, very beginner friendly, and today I'll be explaining why and what you need to actually take good care of them. So first of all, this is like obligatory information. You need to know how to correctly say their Latin name. So here's my boy Jeff. Jeff, take it.
Formica Fusca.
There you go, Jeff. Jeff is my Latin translator, Google Voice guy, and he's the best. So, Formica Fusca lives in Europe and Northern Africa. In Europe, they don't go very far north, and I'd say Southern Germany is the farthest place north you'll find them. So, they are very easy to maintain. They just need you to take one thing in mind when preparing their setup, is that when they are stressed, they expel formic acid, and this formic acid releases some fumes. So if you don't have a sort of big and very well ventilated outworld, these fumes can actually make the ants choke and die. So that's not an easy thing to happen, okay? So but if you don't pay attention to this, it might hurt your ants. Now, they live mainly in open field areas. They don't really like to live in closed environment, so don't crowd the outworld. Just leave it open and simple, okay? The nest can be whatever, the outworld as well, just keep to what I said. And now for sizes, the queen is approximately, I'd say 12 millimeters, and the workers are somewhere from 6 to 8, and there's no casts, it's just all the same. Both the queen and the workers are shiny black, and they have a slightly reddish brown, orange-ish legs, but you won't notice the difference unless you look at them very closely. Now, this ant is beginner friendly because of how they are well behaved. They are active, but not too active, and they're not slow moving at all. They can move really fast, but if they're not stressed, they'll walk around in a nice pace. Also, they cannot really harm you. Okay, if they try to bite you, it can tickle a little bit. Yeah, it tickles, I'd say, but they don't really break your skin, because if they did, they then could insert formic acid in there, and that would hurt a lot. But since they can't, it's mostly okay to work around them. Just, their ants, don't let them crawl all over you, and don't stress them out, okay? Don't stress your pets out unnecessarily. Never ever do that. Okay. One thing to keep in mind is that this ant is from a temperate region. They don't really take well very warm temperatures, and they hibernate, by the way. And they hibernate at an especially low temperature, because normally what you do is, if it gets below 15, they'll hibernate. But to hibernate them properly, you should keep them somewhere between 5 to 10. But with Formica Fusca, I find that if you let the temperatures rise for above 8 Celsius, they might just wake up. Okay, so keep it low. Keep them in a cool area if you want to hibernate them. Of course, another thing you can do is not hibernate them at all. Just keep them somewhere from 18 Celsius to like 28 I wouldn't go to the 30s, but you can go to 30. Don't go above 30, please. Yeah, that's okay. Now, humidity. Also, I'll throw some numbers in. I'd say somewhere around 45 to 60, 65 humidity inside of the nest, and and the outworld can be drier. Yeah, that's okay. Especially because it has to be ventilated, as I've said before. One thing you should keep in mind is that the temperature, although the numbers are more important to take into consideration, the temperature should always have a gradient. You should always have a warm side and a cold side in your nest, and in your foraging area is, yeah, it's acceptable not to have it's okay. Now, Formica, Fusca, they're very forgiving. If you do anything wrong, they're very hardy ants. Just keep in mind that they do not grow especially fast. Okay, they sort of grow like, it's a medium fast. They don't grow as slowly as Campanotas, but they don't grow as fast as, I'd say they grow about messer rate of growing. It takes like 4 to 6 weeks for an egg to develop into larvae. For an egg to complete transition into an adult state. And of course, this always depends on the room temperature they're kept in. Because if the temperature is higher, the egg and the larvae and the pupae will develop much faster. Also, the workers will die much faster. But don't worry about that. Never worry about workers dying, because that's what they do. They live for a while, they work, and they die. If they live for about a month, you shouldn't be worried about them dying. It's normal. Just pick them up, throw them in the trash. Always clean the graveyard sites and everything. Now, this colony of this species can be polygynous. And it actually does something called adoption. But before that, as in being polygynous, they can get to huge numbers, right? One would think that, but this species is relatively humble, I'd say, in numbers. Even with many queens, they don't seem to get into the tens of thousands. Normally, they get to about 500 workers with one queen. And with more than one, they can get to like 2,000, maybe 3, but they never go above that. So they're actually pretty easy to house. Another thing is the adoption that I've talked about. What this means is that if you have an established colony with one or more queens, and you actually present them with a new queen, just a queen, not a new colony, just a queen. You've just caught a queen on the street, you found it, it has no wings, it is obviously a queen, you identify it, you bring it home, and if it is a Formica Fusca, the most likely scenario to happen is that when you introduce that queen to the outworld, the workers that will check her out will take her in, they will adopt her, and she'll be a new egg-laying queen for the colony, and your colony will grow in queen numbers. Normally, if you do this with any other ant species, they'll kill the queen. They'll just immediately snap the head out of the thorax or the abdomen, and the queen you got is gone. Even if it's not in the same species, Formica Fusca will do the same. Obviously, but even in the same species, ants will do this. But Formica Fusca, they adopt the queens. It's very interesting, I'd say, because if you have... And this is another reason why I say don't worry about temperature, because if you have a colony in a higher temperature, and if you do not hibernate them, eventually the queen will die, right? The queen has a lifespan. Normally, I'd say about 10 years or something, but it varies with so many factors that 10 years is a broad statement. It could be some more, it could be a lot less. But if you, every year, in every nuptial flight season of this species, we introduce a new queen and they adopt her, your colony is immortal, right? And since they don't grow to very large numbers, you can just keep on doing this. And it will be just the easiest, most fun colony to keep, because it gives you zero trouble. One thing I find with these species is that they are surprisingly good climbers, because grassland species that live on flat, plain surfaces that literally have almost no trees, they normally don't climb very well. So just a full-on barrier applied on the vertical will be enough to stop them. Of course, some campanodas that like to live near trees, they can get past that, especially because they're huge. This species is not only kind of big, they are also adept climbers. I'd say if you give them a big enough full-on barrier, they can't get past that. But to be safe, I'd give them an upside-down full-on barrier, and that'll be it. This species is very easy. Just also keep in mind that they love sugars. They love sweets. They love honey and sugar water. One thing I find is that the colony I had did not really enjoy any fruits at all. But that is something I have not found any info on in the internet, so don't count on them not liking fruit. Try it. Try to offer them food, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. It's okay. Also, although they love sugars, although they love sugars, you need to give them protein. So feed them insects, and these species, keep in mind that they don't really like to hunt big prey. They like bite-sized meals, I'd say, that each individual worker can hunt on their own and that can kill and eat on their own. Of course, if you give them a bigger meal, but if you cut it in half, if you kill it for them first, it'll be okay, and they'll take to it. Most likely, I would say they wouldn't reject any insect you give them. So that is basically it. Also, I should talk about there's a cute behavior they do is that they sort of organize a little group on the door of the nest, on the exit, and then after a while they all just rush out. They do a little rush resource gathering, a little group of ants gathers around, and then they just rush out, grab everything they find useful and bring back, or eat and come back with their social stomachs full, to then, via trophallaxis, just feed the members of the colony that are inside the nest. I think this is it. If you have any more questions about this species, if you have anything you want to add or that you want me to add that I sort of forgot, just leave a comment down below. I'll get back at you as soon as I can. And if you like this video, give it a like. And if you find my ant topics interesting, share this with someone. If you know someone that would be interested in this, share it with that person. Get everyone to watch me. I want my channel to grow. I want to share my hobby. Just do that. I would be very happy for you to do that. And see you next time. Bye-bye.